Welcome to the Mischief Maker broadcast, where chaos, creativity, and common sense collide. Your host, Joel Freeman, was kicked out of high school in Alberta, Canada. He left home at 17 and hitchhiked around North America as a long-haired hippie and dope-smoking fool. He made a 180-degree change, becoming one of the first chaplains in the history of the NBA. As a professional speaker, Joel has traveled to well over 55 countries. His many books have been published in 28 foreign translations. Pieces from his Black History collection have been seen by millions at the United Nations and many other venues. And now, the Chief Mischief Maker himself, Dr. Joel A. Freeman.
Hey guys, Baby Joel here. Guess what? The older version of me told a joke over a Zoom meeting last week, but nobody laughed. Turns out, he's not remotely funny. There we have it. Not remotely funny. It's the final word from Baby Joel, and I hope you enjoy tonight's show because we've got a big one for you. We have someone by the name of Mark Henry. Now, Mark, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. He was a national powerlifting champion in high school in Texas, and he soon became accomplished in the Olympics in 1992, 1996. In weightlifting and powerlifting, he's won numerous medals, national and world titles, and still holds several records in both sports. He then was signed by the WWE and made his wrestling debut in 1996. He competed for the next 21 years and held various titles, and including becoming WWE World Heavyweight Champion in 2011, and he was inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2018. And he currently works behind the scenes for WWE, named for Gotch, who was inducted as a member of the TNT Hall of Fame charter class in 1999. The award recognizes wrestlers who, through their athleticism and toughness in the ring, and have brought a higher level of respect to professional wrestling from both inside and outside the business. He also was nominated to be the world's strongest, or he became the world's strongest man at one point in his career. Still very strong. He's with us tonight. We're going to be with him in just a few moments. But before we do, I'm going to play a song that many of you know I write music, and coming out with a new album very soon called Mischief Maker. And by the way, if you want to check out the Mischief Maker Show, a little bit more about it, some of the past folks that we've had on, just take a look at the QR code above. And for those who want to participate with Mark Henry this evening, please send your questions in, type your questions in, and Mel Albin, the producer and owner of this whole platform here, he will bring your question on if it's germane to the topic. And then, of course, Mark will then field every question that comes on. So right now, let's go to the song Hurricane Bigotry. I hope you enjoy.
10 years of age, a young black man heard the words that sting. As years passed, he leaned into the wind like Howlin' Wolf and B.B. King. Different rules applied based on skin. A broken world, where do we begin? Life's lens altered, a new reality found. Injustice and prejudice seen all around. Yet he chose to rise amidst the storm's roar, finding strength within like never before. Hurricane bigotry swirling so strong, even with God it's tough, where do we belong? Category 5 with its force unyielding, but he he stood tall against the winds revealing. Like Katrina's fury, with its wrath untamed, he faced adversity, yet remained unchained. Like Andrew's power, destructive and fierce, but his spirit endured, never to pierce. Through the years he learned to navigate the tempest of bias, fueled by hate. Leaning into the wind with steadfast grace, his equilibrium intact in life's race. In the eye of the storm he found the truth, resilience and hope, his guiding sleuth. Hurricane bigotry may rage and shout, but his spirit endures, there's no doubt. Hurricane bigotry swirling so strong, even with God it's tough, where do we belong? Category 5 with its force unyielding, but he stood tall against the winds revealing. Hurricane bigotry swirling so strong, even with God it's tough, where do we belong? Category 5 with its force unyielding, but he stood tall against the winds revealing. Against the winds revealing.
Well, that was a song I wrote about a year and a half ago, I guess, and ended up writing a booklet about it called Hurricane Bigotry. And it's a story behind the song. And so feel free to check out the QR code to see how to order this booklet. I'll send this anywhere in the world to you. And you can hear the story behind it and also have the music video. Let's bring on Mark Henry. I believe you're in the car on your way to some event in Long Island, I believe. And it's such a joy to see you here on the Mischief Maker Show.
Likewise, man. Love the song. Like,
Thank
you
you
know,
very much.
you
Thank you.
you can tell you put your heart into your music.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, you have, you grew up in Texas. And you grew up already, you were a national powerlifting champion while you're still in high school. What was your childhood like? And when did you first realize that you were physically different and mentally different from other kids? Because it's one thing to be physically big, but another thing to have the mental capacity to deal with the toughness of it all.
Well, I mean, growing up in Southeast Texas, I grew up in pulpwood country. Well, for people that don't know, that's logging part of Texas in the woods. Like a lot of the people are real hard workers. They're, I always say that there's more animals than people where I grew up. A lot of farms, and so even though we were in extreme poverty, I didn't know that we were poor uh, because of the love in the home. But I never missed a meal. There were times where we didn't have electricity or running water, that kind of thing. We had an outhouse. Like life was a little different, but I didn't know better. I didn't know that there was anything different. So as I got older, situations got better, and um, I I was in trouble a lot because I was such a big kid at my age that I got picked on about it, and that didn't help none because during that time the only thing I knew was to punch people, And so I spent a lot of time in and out of juvenile detentions and that kind of thing. But sports, in the seventh grade, sixth, seventh grade, everybody started saying, "Man, you need to play football. Like you need to, you're gonna have to start lifting weights if you want to get strong." And that was about the time I saw the Olympics for the first time. So when I saw the Olympics, I was like, man, I want to do that. And I just poured my heart into it. And luckily enough for me, God lined up the people that I needed to know in order to get that done. And kind of the rest was history because I had the work ethic of somebody that worked in the woods and wanted a better life, but it just wasn't working in the woods that I was pouring all that energy into.
So you were, I know that I have a little, we have a mutual friend. He told me to tell you, a little bird told you, Dennis
Uh
Rogers,
oh.
that you could dunk the basketball at 400 pounds
Yeah.
in high school.
Well, I thought I was going to be Magic Johnson, but I stopped growing,
Uh-huh.
and uh, my jump shot was not that great, and but I was really really strong, and people started to take notice of it, and the more that people took notice of it, they started saying stuff like, "Man, I don't know if nobody your age ever did that before,"
Wow.
and
Like what? Give us an illustration of that.
well, in the back in the um, when I was in the sixth grade, I started working out with weights with my brother who was 2 years older. And all the machines were like, you know, stacks of weights on these cable driven machines. And by the time that I was, you know, right before the seventh grade, that summer, I could already lift the whole stack on a lot of those machines.
Wow.
And my brother was, to be equally as strong as my brother, who was 2 years older than me and a really good athlete, and was all American at Texas A&M in football, and was on that wrecking crew defense that held the record for the best defense in college football. And he was one of the stars of the team. So it wasn't like he was an average athlete; he was an elite athlete. And when I started to show that kind of promise, people were like, "Bro, man, your little brother just lifted the whole stack," and he would be like, "Man, that he's strong." He's like, "I don't know what to say." By the time I was in the eighth grade, we didn't have free weights yet. Like my town, my gym, the high school, they were starting to say, "Hey, there's this thing called powerlifting in Texas now. We should get a team because um, we have some strong guys. We want to show them off." And my freshman year in high school, we started the team, but we only had like 8 people that were lifting consistently, and we didn't get to go and compete because that was the first year that we had free weights, which is barbells. And even then, the first year of us having barbells, a freshman in high school, I benched like 340,
Wow.
and everybody was just like blown away. Like, bro, like, what's the records? Like, and you don't know what the records are. You just lifting for fun.
There's no
Uh,
internet to find out either.
yeah, there was no internet back then. So, the following year, my sophomore year, we had the inaugural year of our team. We won state. We had 5 guys.
Oh my
We
goodness.
had 3 guys win first. Myself, our lightweight Adam Hart, and uh, Adrian Arline, who was our like 165, and my brother, who was 2 years older, and several other guys, 4 other guys that made the team. placed third, fourth, fifth, so everybody sprinkled out. But we had three guys that won state the first year that we had a team. So my high school, of course, now is famous for winning championships in powerlifting. They won multiple state championships,
From that
and
point on, so
yeah,
they continued the legacy. Wow.
yeah. So we set the trend, we set the standard, and the school has followed up on it.
Now, were there, every champion has someone who believed in them, or a number of people who believed in them.
Yeah.
I've worked a lot. My years in the NBA, 20 seasons working with professional athletes from 78 to 98. Everyone I talked with had people they could point to and say that person changed me when I was a junior in high school, whatever it was, things that they said and the things they did. Can you point to anybody or any group of people that impacted you in that way?
Well, in high school, Bubby Brister was a famous quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. His relative, uh, Billy Brister, was the quarterback, but Bubby was his relative, his cousin, and he was one of those that was like, "Hey, man, y'all need to get this kid a chance," because during that time, remember, I was on the outs because they were like, "Don't have Mark Henry around your kids, like he's a bad influence." And then it changed to just get a kid a shot. I think that if somebody shows a little attention to him, he could do great things. And he was right, because sports, like, that was the biggest thing. If you tried to take sports away from me, man, I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm no more. I'm a model citizen, and that's what it became. And then Craig McGallion, Greg, Jack Lloyd, and Wayne Williams, those, or Wayne Riley, those were the people that in my high school that really were like, "Yo, man, this kid is like, he's already better than everybody, and he's a freshman." And uh, during that time of my going through high school, by the time I was a senior, like, I was already known internationally as the strongest kid in the world, and it
And
got
what age was
attention.
that?
That was at 17.
17. My goodness.
And that got the attention of Dr. Terry Todd and the little birdie that Dennis Rogers. And like, people from the sports, from the lifting world, started going like, "Hey, I'm gonna have to call bullshit. There's no way that a 17-year-old kid squatted 830 pounds.
Gee.
There's no way that a 17-year-old kid deadlifted 800 pounds. Like,
My goodness.
I have to see it with my own eyes." So I had all these famous people that were in the strength world. Ronnie Coleman came to my high school um, just to see me work out one day, just random. Just, I want to see
Just
this with
showed
my own
up.
eyes.
There
The,
you were. Did you know who
the,
he was?
I had no clue.
Wow.
I had no clue. And then people were like, "Yo, that dude is on TV. That's like Mr. Olympia." And I was like, "Get out of here." And they was like, "No, like, I saw him on
For
TV."
real.
Like, and when my coach said, "Hey, man, this is Ronnie Coleman. He's from Dallas, and he came down here because he heard about you." Like, that's who I became in the sports world. That um, I always, it's hard for me to say it because I feel like I'm bragging, but people tell me all the time, "Mark, like, you downplay your life more than anybody I ever known, and like, just tell your story and the way that it is." But it's still hard for me. I just tell people, go on YouTube and look me up. Because, like, I was blessed that a lot of my life was videoed, and
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
of of the internet, like, it was at your fingertips. Mark Henry in high school lifting, Mark Henry dunk. If you go on YouTube right now, pulls up Mark Henry dunks a basketball. There's videos of me dunking. Like I don't ever have to dispute
No.
anything that happened. Like I've done things still to this day that
Sheesh.
have not been done.
Well, I know the little birdie, Mark or Dennis Rogers, said that he'd be walking down the street in New York City with you, and he said that you couldn't get very far before people would be pouring out of stores and restaurants and everything to say hi to you. And wow, that's it. Tell me a little bit about when you were younger. Your size, was it a burden or a blessing? And
It,
how
it
did
was a
that
blessing. I'm gonna
impact
stop
you?
you. I'm gonna stop you right off the bat. It was a blessing, 100%. Um, I looked at it as a burden because there were people that were afraid of me, and I wanted to be the good guy. I always wanted to be the good guy, but there were people that would make me the bad guy, and I didn't want to be that. But the uh, uh, the notoriety got me fame. I never in my life said, "Man, I want to be rich or I want to have stuff." Like God blessed me and things were able to come to me, but it wasn't because that's what I prayed for. I prayed for as many people to see me as possible, and God gave me what I wanted.
So you were a lifter in the Olympics. How did you get
90,
into the
92 and
Olympics?
96.
How did you
Well,
get
I,
in?
I
What was
met
that process like?
well during that time. Dr. Terry Todd, who was very good friends with Dennis and a mentor to Dennis Rogers, who is the foremost expert in the world on bending steel with his hands.
I've seen
And
videos. It
you
blows my
know,
mind.
like the guy is amazing, and he was the guy that started teaching me how to bend steel and manipulate, steel and how to break blocks and handcuffs and tear
Tear
phone
up
books.
phone
And
books. Yeah.
I was doing all of this stuff, and it was Terry Todd that introduced me to Dennis. But Terry Todd also introduced me to Angel Spazov, who was a Bulgarian national Olympic weightlifting coach, and his one of his students had moved from Bulgaria uh, with him to help him with him being a strength coach and as an assistant. And Emelian Yankov took me on as kind of like his student because Angel was so busy. And so my first coach was the junior weightlifting coach for Bulgaria, the country.
Wow.
That tell me God don't move in a
My
way
goodness.
that like why me? That is I just couldn't believe like
You would never know how to connect that. Just
how
that came
you
to
can't
you.
you can't
Wow.
do it. You can't connect that. That's not humanly possible. Like it was ordained. It was something. My faith is really important to me, and I'm speaking at a church tomorrow night here in New York on out in the Rockaways, and like my thing is the impromptu power that God has. Like it's um, He moves people to do His will. Like it's not done by your thoughts alone. You got to put work behind it. If there ain't no work, then it ain't gonna get done.
So you made the transition from tell us a story about how you transitioned from the Olympics, or maybe tell us a little bit more about the Olympics and where you traveled and who you competed against
Well,
and what records you set.
my first year, I had only been wrestling for 9 months, and I made the Olympic team. There were people
Wow,
that had trained their whole lives
whole life.
to make the team, and never scratched it. Like couldn't do it. And um, in that 10th month, I'm in Barcelona, looking around, going, "I'm at the Olympics." Like it was still like shocking to me that that's what my life had become. And you got billions of people watching you. And um, I ended up coming in 10th. I'm 19 years old, and I'm one of the 10 strongest Olympic weightlifters in the world. And I'd only been training for 10 months. So we knew that, wow, this is going to be an interesting ride. And I had good coaches. I had the support of the United States Olympic Committee. It was unfortunate that the United States Olympic Committee could not get the International Weightlifting Federation to really break down the rules on taking anabolic steroids and growth hormone and all of the anabolics. And I just got tired of competing against people that you would see. I would beat them, and then 3 months later they would beat me by 100 pounds.
Oh my goodness! And you knew.
And you knew, like, my coach would be like, "Listen, man, this is ridiculous." And I even got criticized by Thomas Ion, who was the head of the U.S. weightlift or the International Weightlifting Federation, telling me to stop complaining about the drugs, to take the drugs, because you're going to get the sport kicked out of the Olympics.
Wow.
And I was just like, I'm done. Like, I knew from that conversation in Atlanta that I was never going to do Olympic weightlifting again. And I was bitter for many, many years. And now, in my old age, I've softened. I'm on the board of the U.S. Weightlifting Foundation. Uh, I did a fundraiser in Austin, Texas, uh, a couple of years ago. We raised near 150 grand. That all of that money went to the U.S. weightlifting team, men and women. Like, so I uh, uh, I love the sports, and I love Olympic weightlifting. And now we had Americans win medals in this past Olympics because of the drug testing, because they've evened the odds a little bit. There's still people that are slipping through the cracks that are cheating, but it's way better now, way better.
So you competed twice in Olympics, right?
Yes.
Twice, and then you could have done it the third time, 4 years in between, right? And but you
Yeah.
decided that's when you decided no way.
The WWE at that time, or WWF, Vince McMahon and his staff reached out to me and said that they would love to show me around and see, how they did things in pro wrestling. And I took them up on it and ended up making a career out of it. Wrestled actually for 22 years. And then the next, I was also, um, working with talent development and helping the future of wrestling. So I got I got really blessed to be in a situation where um, I was trusted with the future of wrestling.
So when you got into wrestling, you it was 21 years, you said, right? And
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about the transition, because wrestling in the Olympics is one thing, but wrestling in the WWE is a whole nother, or WWF, whatever you first started with, is a whole different game, I guess you might call it. How did you transition, and what kind of mental stuff did you work through to transition?
Well, it was a lot because the people in wrestling didn't want me in wrestling. There were people that were, worried about their positions. So I got hazed and got in trouble. And, um, I always said that part two of my killing spree started once I started wrestling, because I hadn't really had no fights since I was a kid, and I got to punch people in the face again. I started to like it again, and Vince got to me and said, "Hey, man, you can't beat everybody up. Like, I'm gonna send you to Canada, and I want you to kind of like really learn how to integrate yourself to the locker room." And Bret Hart took me in, and it took for me to have to go to Canada to learn how to coexist in the locker room and to learn strategies to deal with people. And I mean, I still was a kid, so shout out to the Hart family for uh, kind of grabbing me and kind of mentoring me into what the guy that I ended up becoming in pro wrestling. Because once I came back to America, I was light years more athletic than everybody. I had a legacy that nobody had, and it's hard to beat the strongest guy on the planet that can actually uh, do the skill that everybody else was good at.
We're going to take a break right now for just about a minute or so, and then come right back to you. And when we come back, Mark, I'd like to talk about that process of what Mr. Hart did with you, and how he worked with you, and some of your thought processes and pushbacks and all the rest, and to can pull us into that world. So let's take a break and go to our sponsor, the Rosetta Universe. I think we're going to hear from Napoleon.
Attacking Egypt was a gamble, but I believed it would bring glory to France, open up a trade route to India, and stick my thumb in the eye of the British. I never actually saw the Rosetta Stone with my own eyes, and I regret that. Take time today to learn more about the Rosetta Stone Traveling Exhibit Project. And that's an order.
Well, when Napoleon gives an order, you might want to check it out. We have some information on the QR code above. If you go up to the QR code, you'll see the link tree. The very first number one is about the Rosetta Universe, our sponsor. And also I have a World Championship belt that I designed. This is from Jack Johnson. And this belt is only available, 700 of these are going to be made worldwide. And then we're going to destroy the design, never to be resurrected again. And so anywhere in the world, this is every penny that's donated, it goes to the foundation to help with the Rosetta Universe project, where we're transforming this ancient artifact, the Rosetta Stone, into a modern metaphor for problem solving and critical thinking for this generation. Well, Mark, let's go back to talking about your transition from the Olympics to the WWE. And so what were some of the things that you were being taught when you went to Canada? Was Canada like going to the, let's say, minor leagues in terms of baseball or the G
Yeah, I
League
mean, it
and
was a small
basketball?
territory. Stu Hart had a program in his basement called the Dungeon, where he trained fighters like MMA fighters. And he asked me if I knew how to fight, and I said, yeah. And I got in there with them dudes, and those guys were Olympic wrestlers. They was stretching my ass. I was getting took down by guys 130, 140 pounds. And I was like, okay, I got a lot to learn. So I started going in there every day, man, like angry because like I'm not used to failure.
And you're how old
And
at this point? 20, 21?
yeah, I'm like 20, 22, 22,
22.
23,
Okay.
getting there. And Brett's like, man, you got, you never wrestled in high school? And I was like, man, we don't have wrestling in Texas in high school. And so we got in there, and man, I started to learn. And Stu was like, well, the reason that you do a headlock is for this. The reason that you do an arm drag is for this. And this is the way you do this. So I learned how to do the real wrestling, amateur wrestling, and then it made pro wrestling easier because now I know why and how you get in and out of things and not get tired in the process. So in
That's a big
wrestling,
point right there.
it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And there's a thing in amateur wrestling called a gut check. You think you're gonna pass out. You think that you have nothing left. But when you reach that point where you can't breathe and you relax, then everything just becomes like it's slow motion. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm tired, but I have him. Like he can't go nowhere. I own you. And that is a scary, scary place. There is no better conditioned athlete than an Olympic wrestler.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree.
and the first sport in the Olympics, um, learning of the derivative, which is entertainment, um, it just became very easy to me. And um, but Brett was teaching me how to exist in the locker room. He's like, man, the guys rib each other. They play practical jokes on each other. They're bored. And most of them are immature. He said, you got to be bigger than them. And and he said, if you don't do it, play the game. He's like, if they shoot your dog, then you kill their cat. Brett was he was the best, man. So like there were people that would play jokes on me. I would take all their clothes, their bags, and I'd throw them in the shower and turn all the showers on. Like people stop messing with you. So like I learned how to exist, and everybody get a laugh, and they go, "Hey man, leave that dude alone, man. He is nuts." So they taught me a lot, man, and I owe a lot to the Hart family.
Yeah, when I was chaplain in the NBA, as long when and the players were treating me with deference, like oh Chaplain Freeman, blah blah blah, I knew I wasn't in. But when they started playing jokes on me and teasing me, I knew I got it. I'm in. I'm in with
Yeah,
these guys. I'll
yeah,
never be in terms of playing with them because that's a whole nother fraternity.
yeah.
But I was in. I was accepted.
But it was a beautiful lessons. It was beautiful lessons I learned, and I was able to come back, have all the all the success that you can get, and I end up with one of these.
There it is.
So
WWE.
when you go in the Hall of Fame,
Wow.
that puts you. There's only I think now there's like 130 people in the Hall of Fame. Like just to be one of 130 of anything on earth
That's incredible.
is a big deal.
That is incredible. Now, in professional wrestling, it is it's like a baking a cake. You got a little bit, some athleticism, storytelling, entertainment, business, all kind of wrapped in. You got to have all those elements and probably more. Can you tell us a little bit about which element or aspect was the most difficult for you to master?
Um, the hardest part about wrestling for me was there were people, my ego, managing my ego, because there were guys that were smaller than me that I didn't think should beat me. And, the business is where um, you, you're going to get beat. You're going to take losses. And I just didn't know how to deal with it. And finally, it came to a point where um, I realized that it's about how you tell the story and the psychology of pro wrestling. And I ended up becoming one of the guys that everybody calls. Like wrestlers will call me and go, "Hey, Mark, you remember that thing you did with this person? Like, how did you do that? Like, how did you come up with that?" And so I'm kind of the stories guy now. I'm the psychologist for a lot of these young guys. You just learn
So,
how to tell stories.
when I was a
But
kid, this gorgeous George coming in, combing his hair and everything.
one of
We
my
never had a T.
favorite people to study. I studied
Really?
him. He was one of my favorites.
As a kid in Canada, we lived in a little town of 2,000 people. We had no TV. But a friend of mine, about 3 miles away, he had a TV. So every once in a while, I'd go over and stay overnight. And I can remember around, I think it was around 4:30, 5 o'clock, wrestling would come on, and this grainy black and white TV. How did you come up with what persona did you come up with? How did you architect that? And what kind of well did you draw your water from to come up with that persona?
Well, the first one, being the strongest man in the world, was pretty easy. Like
Hmm.
you play to your strengths. I pick people up. They try to get away. They can't get away. They throw a punch. I catch it. They try to squeeze my hand. I squeeze their hand. Like it became that part came very easily. But then when I started doing the character, Sexual Chocolate, that was comedy. So I learned to write comedy, and that was like so much fun that I was like, I want to do more of this. And they were like, no, we don't want you to do comedy. You're the big guy. We want you to smash people. And so I had to go back to the drawing board. And um, around that time that I started to really get it and have fun, my mother passed away.
Oh,
And during that time, I was sensitive. Listen, Joe, I'm sensitive as hell. So during that time, I'm in mourning, and um, this there's a magazine called Muscle and Fitness, and there was a certain strongman that said, again, I feel like this was God poking me, going, "Hey, we need to do this." And this guy said that, why is Mark Henry calling himself the strongest man in the world? He don't even compete in strongman. So I'm sensitive. So I asked Vince McMahon, like, Vince, like, these dudes are talking shit. I'm mad. I want to hurt people. And he's like, Mark, I don't need you going to jail. Like, calm down. I said, well, I want to compete against them. And he said, well, you don't have nothing to prove. I said, yes, I do. I said that the thing that made me who I am, they challenged me on it. And he said, well, Mark, I'm never going to tell you no, because you've always done what you said you were going to do. But if you lose to these guys, you devalue yourself.
yes.
And everything that we hang on you, you will lose in the process. And he said, you won't be accepted back here. And
Wow, what a huge risk to
I
put that on the table.
first it shocked me that he told me that. And then I was like, I got angry. I said, you don't believe in me? Like, I'm the strongest guy on the planet. He said, Mark, I know, but you messing with business. And I said, well, if you don't believe me, fine. That's just more fuel on the fire. But see, that's what all athletes do. We internalize negativity and we turn it into fuel. And that at least the great ones, everybody that I ever knew was ignorant, just like me, when it came to what people expect out of you and what you're able to do instead of. And I got angry and I started training angry. I didn't sleep. Like, I was training for 3 and 4 hours at a time. And then I found myself getting tired in the gym. I was going to sleep in the gym, waking up, brushing my teeth, and then training again at
Going
seven,
right
eight
back at
o'clock
it.
in the morning.
Wow.
I was ill. I was mentally ill during that time. And when I went to the Arnold Classic World's Strongest Man, when I got off the plane in Columbus, I already knew I was winning. There was nothing that them guys could have done. And if you go on YouTube again, I don't have to make up none of this shit. You go on YouTube and look up Mark Henry lifts the Apollon wheels. and you look at how everybody else lifted the Apollon wheels, and you look at how I lifted the Apollon wheels, and you be you be the judge of who the strongest human on the planet is. It only took one lift for everybody to come to the back, and they go, "Bro, what are you?
Who are
Like,
you?
how did you do that?"
Wow.
Like, and I now they're all like kids.
Yeah.
They're like fans. And that's what God gave me, the ability to do things that other humans can't do. And I just was able to master a few things um, that I know they were given to me, but I polished them up. I worked hard to a level to where I sacrificed. Like my wife, she probably sacrificed as much as I did,
Yeah. Yeah.
because during the two Olympics, like, she was my girlfriend, and I told her, I was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna be able to see you much." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Look, I don't have sex when I'm competing. Like, I don't there's I don't want to feel. I want to be a raw nerve. Like, me thinking about you is going to make things calm and nice, and I don't want calm and nice. I want violent. I want turbulence, and I don't want you to see me like that." And she was like, "You're nuts." And I said, "No, I'm serious." And she flew out to see me train uh, one weekend for 7 months. I was on an island. Like, when I say an island, um, you know where Ironbound Island is off the coast of Halifax.
Yes. Yeah.
That's where I trained.
Wow.
There's the only three humans out there other than me were the guy that mastered the lighthouse, and Jan and Terry Todd, Terry was my coach, and
Wow.
Jan was Terry's wife. That's how I trained. So I don't think nobody else was willing to go to the depths that I was willing to go to. And it's the same thing with wrestling. Once I started realizing that wrestling is about psychology, and it's about how you make people feel, I started reading about, and don't judge me on this, but I started reading a lot about the worst villains on earth, and their mindsets and their philosophies. And I there was a lot of portrayal of people that were really bad for earth that I copied. And God knows who I really was. But, for me to do what I did was strategic. And I knew that everybody hated that type of behavior. And the only thing that I never touched was race. I never touched race, but everything else was free game. And I emotionally would make you feel horrible. And that made me the worst big guy of all time. They just did the top 64 big men in the history of wrestling. And I came down to the final four with The Undertaker, Andre the Giant, and The Big Show. Whoa. Okay. I thought the car was the safety brake came off. It scared me. But, like, I've been very blessed, Joe, and I don't want people to think that it was all physical, because, like, I'm a thinker, and and it was very calculated, all the things that I've done in my life, and I sacrificed a lot in my life to be who I became, and you know that was my payment. That's the payment that God gave me.
Now, in
It's
strongman
success.
competitions, what is your greatest feat of strength, and what's your greatest win in
Ooh,
strongman? And how
ooh,
did
I
you get into
think
strongman
I would say
competition?
the Arnold Classic would be my 2002 would be the um, my greatest strongman achievement. But I've done things like lift the Thomas Inch, formerly known as the unliftable dumbbell. And once I lifted it, just became the Thomas Inch dumbbell. Because still to this day, no other human has lifted it overhead without without touching with two hands.
How much does
And
it weigh?
it's 172.5 pounds, but the handle is 3 inches in diameter.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just incredibly hard to grip. And you go online and look up the Thomas Inch unliftable dumbbell, and you watch people try it, and then you watch what I do with it, and you go, they call it Thor's hammer now, because people have tried it, and nobody can do it. Nobody can lift it. And I take a lot of pride in the fact that guy allowed me to do things that no other human has done.
So tell us, I guess let's kind of turn a gentle
Go
corner.
reach in your pocket and grab a quarter and bend it.
I don't have a quarter in my pocket, and I couldn't if I did.
Well, Dennis Rogers, there's not many people that when they talk about you and they say stuff that you just have to listen.
Yeah.
I was able to bend a quarter.
Wow.
There's grippers, these power grippers, and they start at 1 to 4. You can look them up, and you can buy them online. All y'all people that want to test yourself, but not many people can close the 1. I closed the 4, and Dennis
Sheesh.
Rogers was the guy that was standing there when I did it, and then I turned it upside down and closed it,
Wow.
and then I switched it to my other hand and closed it, and turned it upside down and closed it.
Yeah, usually you have a dominant hand, right, to do something like that, but to do
Right.
it ambidextrously that's a whole nother level
Which
of feat
is
of
which is
strength.
where Dennis Rogers was like, bro, okay, I get it. I
Little
get it.
birdie, right?
Little birdie told me.
Now, did you notice the difference between the pre-64 quarters, all silver, and then when they put the
The
sandwich
nickel
coins?
in them.
Yeah.
So
Was it
the
harder?
the ones with nickel in them are harder.
Oh, wow. That makes
Um,
sense.
I mean, you gotta hear Big Show, the wrestler Big Show. Um, he saw me do it, and he was just like, "Bro, you okay?" Because he didn't know what I was doing. He just saw me hunched over, grimacing and stuff. He
Grunting.
thought he thought I was hurt. And I love the story. Like, you can find him online talking about it. And um, and he put his hand on my shoulder, and I showed him the quarter, and he went, "All right, man.
You're from
I'm
another
gonna
planet, buddy.
I'm gonna go over here and feel insignificant as a man." I love that dude, man. Like, he really my brother.
Oh,
Like,
man.
you see us both now in our old age, and we're not 450 pounds, and that stuff, but still, man, like, um traveling this world and being able to have people that you came out of it like as brothers is awesome.
Now, Mark, you're in the elite realm of being one of the most recognizable professional athletes in the world. Tell me about fame and what, just share with us what that's like. What's the upside to it, downside to it, and how have you worked through it in some ways?
Well, it affects some people. It affects their ego, how they deal with people, how they see themselves, how sometimes they feel like they're better than others. Like that ain't the way God made me. Um, as long as I got breath in my body and I got food on my table, I'm happy human. Um, my kids, on the other hand, they tend to, when they have my attention, they want to keep my attention. And sometimes, that gets lost. And I heard Brock Lesnar recently talking about that online about, family time is family time. Please, like, allow me to have that, because that's really all I got. And um, I, man, I don't know how else to say that. I'm probably about as normal about it as they come. In order for me to tell you no, or man, I gotta go, is I'm causing a incident that the police are not gonna like, or somebody's being rude and obnoxious. And in order for me to walk away and there not be the part two of my killing spree started, uh, I got to get out of that situation. So
Channeling the villains.
yeah, I don't want to be the bad guy.
Now, how has it affected your friendships and relationships where because I know I talk to NBA athletes and their position in life, your position in life attracts a lot of insincere people, and their heads are on swivel. They have a certain radar where they can kind of smell, what's the agenda is. But sometimes you don't know what the agenda is for 6, 7, 8 years or so.
But I create the narrative.
Yeah. How does it affect you?
It don't affect me. I don't allow it to.
Okay.
Like, if I feel angst or anxiety, I'm like, hey, guys, I appreciate your time, but I gotta go, and I just leave. Like,
Yeah.
that's you end it. I'm speaking of making your destination. I've reached my destination. I got my guy, the other Mark. What's up, pal? He's got to get to his family,
Yeah.
so I need to get out of his car. But like, I enjoyed this. Anytime that I get to spend a little bit more time with you, and recognize the fact that you one of the people that I feel like in this world that more people should know, just because of your heart. Like, I'm willing to do that.
Well, thank you very much. That is very meaningful to me, and I just feel the same way about you. There's a certain connection there, and I'm so glad that little birdie Dennis Rogers introduced us, and I'm very grateful for that. And I maybe in another 6, 8 months from now, could we do another show again and kind of take it to another level? Because there's so many questions that are popping around in my head.
Oh man, well, I would say yes right now.
I hear you.
But I
worries.
can promise you, it will not be an hour and 25 minutes.
Okay.
You better narrow it down, brother.
We got an hour show, but we'll do a half hour.
All right.
Hey, man, thanks a lot. Really
You're
appreciate
welcome,
you.
brother. God bless you.
God bless you, man. Thank you.
You have just experienced another episode of the Mischief Maker broadcast. Hit the subscribe button. Connect at chiefmischiefmaker.com. Thanks for coming along for the ride. And hopefully, you are now a bit closer to becoming a mischief maker in your part of the world.